Well, hello there, my fellow nihilist Nietzscheans. Welcome back to another video. And this one's gonna be pretty confusing because I don't really know even what the title is supposed to be. I was thinking about a few things. I've been reading a lot, and I don't want to sound like I've got everything figured out because at the end of the day, I don't, but I have come across a few thoughts, and I guess I just wanted to raise the discussion in the comments. So, you're encouraged to do so, and please do so. Just leave a comment about what you think about this. What is it on your mind that you want to say and speak? I will try, not that I will try to react, I certainly will, because that was the main premise and the main point of this video. That I, interact with you and I try to get different opinions on the matter and just kind of, chill out a bit and do shit. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna edit that one out. The fucking feral dogs outside or whatnot. Yeah, feral fucking dogs in my neighborhood. Well, let's get back to the topic. I wanted to raise the question on what is life or what is a good life. And I know that sounds like an introduction to a very shitty and pretentious philosophy class, but it really is a question worth asking. Because not many people figure it out, and I don't think anybody will or anybody will have a coherent answer. There have been great minds in the history and scheme of things, that have said something to the topic, what it means to have a good life. I mean, if you look at ancient Greece, almost everybody started yapping about what it means to have a good life and what you should do. And there have been a couple of philosophers that have written novels about it, I guess, or a couple of thinkers, maybe. But the main point was never answered because most of the time they give you like advice, like just be yourself and try to utilize something. I mean, we have a whole Maslow's pyramid, which there is, I think it's like self-actualization or something on the very top, or self-worth. I don't fucking know. Something along those lines where you're supposed to become like this glaring sun of an individual where you just, I don't know, do everything and don't give a shit about anybody. But nobody has really answered the question, as I mentioned. Nobody has really put up a point that would make people think, would make people wonder. And many people, in my opinion, seem to be following the false gods. For example, I will refer to subreddits because I've been spending shitload of time on Reddit. For example, a subreddit I recently stumbled upon called Clean Living Kings. Well, those people, they seem to have everything figured out, but then they start, yapping about God and shit like that. And you gotta ask yourself a question: if blindly following a religion is the way to live a good life, if being morally strong is the way to being a good life, then you get the entire stoicism where it's like you have to be this and you have to try to control your emotions, which at the end of the day might contribute to you being a more calm and collected individual. But the essential part of life, or the essential part of everything, is that you lose something in order to gain something. So once you start to, I guess, in a way, negate your emotions, even though that's not what the Stoics says, many of the followers of Stoicism seem to do that. They don't really say, I'm angry or I'm sad. They're like, oh, these are emotions. I shouldn't feel emotions. But aren't emotions something that we all naturally feel? And therefore, shouldn't it be something that we kind of like express as a human beings? You don't see animals maybe do it in such a way as humans, right? When a dog is happy, it's kind of pretty obvious. But when a person is happy, I mean, how do you define that? What, is he smiling? Is he spitting out jokes? I don't know. That doesn't seem to be a valid point, right? Because there are lots of, for example, there is this good old joke that never invite a comedian to dinner because it's just going to be depressing, and that's really the truth, right? Because comedians are making fun of shit because they're angry at that stuff. It's not like they find it funny; they just find a way to express it in a funny manner, like what they really feel, right? That's one of their talents, and then you have philosophers or thinkers which start to deeply think about it. That's their way of expressing. Some people maybe write poetry, and that's their way of expressing thoughts and feelings. At the end of the day, thoughts and emotions are something very essential to humans, and we all find or crave ways to express them authentically. And that's why I think there has been a massive, huge spread of art. I mean, look at it. Today you have kids, or maybe teenagers, I wouldn't quite call them kids, but teenagers doing art on like constantly, and you wouldn't see that in maybe in the 60s or 50s. And I guess it kind of correlates to the point where we have gotten as a human race, right? At this point, at this very level, I'm not saying that everybody has it the way, but many people are raised in cushy environments, in a way you could say that. They're not really targeted with the hardships that some people encounter, like financial instability, or maybe working hard and shit like that. It's not really dominant or something that you see in the society, and it surely is not well celebrated. And then comes the entire kind of like capitalism, and I don't like to say capitalism because that makes me seem like a Marxist, and I'm not a fucking Marxist, not by a long shot. But then you get that, and this starts to interfere with the entire notion that a good life means being productive and producing stuff for other people to either enjoy, or the services that you can do. And you see this because people usually don't think like, I'm gonna get a hobby and I'm just gonna like it. They think like, I'm gonna get a hobby, I like it, and there's that extra step of, now I'm gonna monetize it. And you gotta really ask yourself a question, if everything is worth monetizing. So yeah, I guess, what it really means to live a good life. Is it monetizing your every skill, making an impact? Can you therefore say it to a person that who hasn't really made much impact? Let's say a manual worker. I mean, you could put the argument that a manual worker is easily replaceable, and I surely would agree. I mean, you can have a robot do his work, but does that mean that he's not living a good life? Does that mean he's living a bad life somehow by doing manual work, which is needed, of course, but it can be easily replaced? And to a certain extent, even non-manual work can be replaced. I mean, there have been robots that have been attempting to draw paintings, and as we progress with the entire AI thing, I think we will reach a point where robots will be able to create art, and therefore, I mean, you gotta ask yourself, what is therefore an artist or somebody who does art not living a good life because he's not being productive?